On today's edition of the Thrive Time Show, Walter West II, the Sergeant-at-Arms for the Republican Party of Texas, joins us to comment on why our leaders have chosen to shut down the world's largest and most thriving economy to protect us from a virus that's less dangerous than the common flu for our children. Why are we shutting down America's strongest economy? Why are we shutting down our schools? Why are we closing our churches? Is it to stop the spread of a virus? Or is it because of something else?
Some shows don't need a celebrity narrator to introduce the show, but this show does. 2 men, 8 kids, co-created by 2 different women, 13 multi-million-dollar businesses. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Thrive Time Show.
Now, 3, 2, 1, here we go!
Started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, now we here.
Yes, 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 and yes, Thrive Nation, we are in the air everywhere, and on today's show, I could not be more fired up about our guest, Walter West. Welcome on to the Thrive Time Show. How are you, sir?
Doing pretty good.
Now, I'd love to have you on the show to talk about meat, beef jerky, football, all these things we could have talked about 2 years ago. But right now, look at that meat.
Bacon and meat.
Baby, oh, unbelievable. Well, we find ourselves, are you doing a keto diet or something? Is that what you're up to over there?
Keto diet, and then my kids get a strong influx of prescription beef and bacon combined.
Nice. Okay. Well, you are a guy who loves freedom. You love America. I'd love to get your take on this COVID-19 2020 chaos. And again, just to tee it up, folks, we know that Dr. and Senator Rand Paul now has said officially, if you look, I'm quoting, he says, if you look at under age 18, the mortality rate is about 1 in a million. If you look at the age 18 to 45, the mortality rate is about 10 in 100,000. And above that, it increases, but interestingly, it is still pretty small, and the vast majority of people, even up to 65 years of age, are going to have a very mild case of this. So we now know that the virus is much less dangerous than what was initially projected or predicted. What's your take on what is going on right now in terms of government's reaction to the COVID-19 pandemic?
Well, I'll be honest with you. My take on their reaction is for specifically right now, I honestly believe they're trying to cover up for their screw up of the overreaction. And keep in mind that the president shut down trade, not trade, but shut down travel to China and to Europe at the appropriate time that things were getting hot and were getting bad over there. And then he said, these are the guidelines we want to use. And he issued the guideline, or he reiterated what the CDC guidelines were. At no point did he ever shut anything down. And at no point did he ever tell the FDA, hey, I need you to make sure that people cannot get a hold of their physicians and their physicians' expertise in treating you. You must listen to these experts over here. And remember, all the experts he put up, everybody loved them at first. Yeah. Now everyone's starting to demonize those people because you're the doctor, the one that you got through the Obamacare Act, the one you got to keep or that you didn't get to keep, but now you got a new one. Well, those doctors are telling us, hey, people are sick. They're going to get sick. Pandemics happen. Epidemics happen. Whatever happens, but we can treat this stuff. Don't shut down the economy. So now everyone's trying to make, I'm not the one who looked bad. Because if you notice right now, President Trump is being blamed for this. And at no point in time did he ever issue a mandate that closed everything down.
If COVID treatments are available, the question I would have is why aren't people allowed to use them? So as an example, your good friend and my good friend, Dr. Richard Bartlett, he was a top advisor for Governor Perry of Texas for 7 consecutive years, and he has been treating hundreds of patients. And I've talked to dozens of doctors who've also successfully treated hundreds of patients. So obviously at this point, we're talking about thousands of patients are all being treated with a $237 treatment if you don't have insurance. And that treatment consists of taking a nebulizer and using that to distribute pulmicort and budesonide with a Z-Pack. And when you take that treatment, nobody, including my wife's best friend, has died when they've taken this treatment. So why aren't people allowed to listen to their own doctors? What's going on there, sir?
Well, because the doctors aren't playing the politically correct game, the ones that are out there, the media gets to choose which doctor is actually the expert. They get to choose which doctor they want you to listen to because that's who the left is telling them to listen to. It's night and day in our politics now. Whereas Republicans and Democrats used to work together, that's not happening. We just killed the. Apparently, the new coronavirus bill just got shut down in the Senate, is what my understanding is, as of within the past 2 hours, and that's because the left wanted to throw things like taking the monetary how much you're going to pay for your baggage on an airline, and that's got anything. I don't even fly anymore. I'm not going to get on the plane, so why would I need a bill that says we should no longer charge for baggage? That's just more money that I have to pay American Airlines so that they can promote BLM and all that other garbage. At the end of the day, the bills that are being introduced have got so much fluff and waste in there. If we have to have the government bail us out of an economic downfall, then let's put stuff in there that matters. Why can't Dr. Bartlett go up to DC and tell them, hey, these are the number of patients I've got. What Dr. Bartlett is doing is different from what Dr. Lozano is doing, which is different from what Dr. Emanuel is doing. And look at what's actually going on. They are showing the number of people that are actually being saved, treated, that are coming out of this. And you're talking to a guy who's I'm not an anti-masker. I choose not to wear one. I'm upset my kids have to go to school with them.
Yeah.
My son just started band. He actually has to carry a gallon of water with him because he's not allowed to use the water fountain at school. I mean, we're going into an extreme state.
And by the way, 1 out of a million kids. But I just want to make sure we're getting this idea. I just want to make sure, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I want to make sure that I'm supporting you with facts because Dr. Atlas, the top medical doctor from Stanford, this is Stanford's top medical doctor, has said, and I'm reading this, he says, the deadliness of the coronavirus is less than that of the seasonal flu for children. But your son has to carry around a gallon of water. 1 out of a million, folks. 1 out of a million chance of dying from COVID-19 if you're a kid. Back to you, sir. I just wanted to supply you with some ammo because what you said is 100% correct.
Yeah, and one of my former positions in the United States Army was I'm a former medic and a former combat medic instructor. So I worked hand in hand with physicians, and if you look at it, there's different treatment modalities from different physicians across the U.S. South Dakota, they opened up they just had the Sturgis rally. 300,000 people showed up, and now that's considered a super spreader. But here's the funny part. Nobody knows where these bikers are that got sick. Out of 300,000 people, they haven't said, oh, so-and-so got sick. I was with Herman Cain whenever he supposedly got the COVID-19 at the Trump rally. I wasn't at the Trump rally. I was with him the day before at the premiere for Uncle Tom, which is actually kind of an anti-Democrat film. But it's literally black people getting their voices heard. And so why are we not letting the doctors, of which, how many of these doctors had government student loans that we paid for?
Right.
Now we're telling them that you're not good enough to listen to. And I don't know if Dr. Bartlett had a government loan or not, but at the end of the day, I can't tell you how many medical physicians I know that had government loans. So they had government paid education. And on the flip side, now they're not even being allowed to show their successful treatment modalities.
Now, I got to ask you this. Are you a Christian, or what's your religious belief?
I'm definitely a conservative Christian. I am a wavering member of the Southern Baptist Convention as they go back and forth. I've been in church all my life. Matter of fact, the most amount of travel besides the U.S. Army I did was with my youth choir out of the West University Baptist Church in Houston, Texas. And I spent at least 7 years from high school through the college years, and then as a sponsor chaperone on these choir trips where we run around the nation just praising Jesus and sending it out there.
Well, I'm gonna blow your mind with something that maybe you haven't heard somewhere else before. I just want to get your reaction to it in its real and raw form, and I'm going to cite it on the show notes. Everybody knows this, okay? Dr. Fauci's entire research focus, people don't realize this, his entire focus is on vaccines, essentially. Now, many of these vaccines include fetal tissue. So I want to make sure you get this idea, folks. Dr. Fauci, his research for vaccines would not be possible without fetal tissue, murdered baby tissue. Now think about this for a second. His research is so nefarious and so crazy, and I'm putting a link on today's show notes. In Reuters, it is reported that President Trump banned the fetal tissue research called gain-of-function research. This research, this is crazy, involves taking a naturally occurring coronavirus from an animal or a bat, that kind of thing, and you mix it with fetal tissue to increase the transmissibility of the virus. And experts hate it. They're afraid of it because it could cause a pandemic. So again, the very guy advising us, the core of his research isn't possible without fetal tissue. That's one. I have a problem with that. Two, Trump bans it, says you can't do it anymore. So he moves it to Wuhan. As reported by Newsweek, Dr. Fauci funded the controversial Wuhan labs at the very epicenter of the outbreak. And point three is Fauci, if you're a Christian, you cannot be listening to a guy who's telling you need to take a vaccine that includes fetal tissue from babies. So I just want to get your take on that. As a Christian, if you're told to take a vaccine that includes aborted babies, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, that's been the argument. I've actually argued at the Texas State Capitol. A part of what the Republican Party's platform is to end abortion.
Right.
You know, why do we want to put our unborn fetuses, our unborn babies, the life inside of a womb, whether it's wanted or not, when it comes out, it's going to be wanted by somebody. Otherwise, we wouldn't have adoption. And you're speaking to someone I've got a multicultural family.
Wow.
Venezuelan sister-in-law. My niece and nephew, they're from Russia. I'm part of that conspiracy now. But they were adopted because my sister couldn't have children. My wife and I, we've had 4 infant deaths prematurely, obviously. But at the same time, those were 4 lives that we wanted, and the children we've had since then. And I'll be honest with you, when I was in the U.S. military, I was vaccinated like you could never believe, anthrax to whatever. If you saw my shot record, I should have been the Terminator as far as vaccines are concerned. It wasn't until I stopped taking all that stuff that we actually started producing children. So think about what we're doing to our soldiers who are forced to take vaccines, which we have to take vaccines as a soldier. You're ordered to, but now they're talking about not getting our economy going until we force people to take a vaccine. Most people didn't sign up for the military. It takes a special breed of craziness, and I'll say it right here. But I love my God, I love my country, and I'm going to fight for both. Last thing I'm going to do is listen to a guy that is doing that kind of fetal research that's bringing us. You know, we don't know what kind of diseases the fetal tissue that he got, most likely from Planned Parenthood. We don't know what it had to begin with. You know, infants in the womb can also carry a disease.
Hot seat. 180 seconds left, coming at you fast, coming at you hot here. You are the Sergeant at Arms for the Republican Party of Texas. What does that mean?
I serve at the disposal and at the whim of the chair. Currently, Chairman Alan West is our current chair. He's on the front lines hitting things, and he basically says, "Can you keep order?" And I'm kind of a controversial person for keeping order. I got thrown out of a meeting by an old lady once. But at the end of the day, we want to make sure that the party carries order and that we elect the right people. And so I'm part of that structure to make that happen in Texas.
Okay, you have the mic. You have the mic before you drop the mic. We have about 500,000 listeners that are action oriented. They want to do something. They don't do well with just taking in knowledge. They want to apply what they're learning. What do all of our listeners need to do? What is an action step that you would ask all of our listeners to take right now that will make an impact against this COVID-19 chaos and craziness?
First of all, vote. Vote to the right. so, or to your right, whichever way I'm facing on your screen there.
Yeah.
Vote to the right. Make sure, and it doesn't have to be Republican or Democrat. Make sure you've got a good conservative Christian. If it's a good conservative Christian, they'll see that the platform of the Democrat Party is promotes abortion, promotes free whatever lifestyle. The Republican Party promotes, and I don't want to totally make this a political thing, but open the dadgum economy. The greatest economy ever got shut down. Now we're back on the second of the greatest rise ever of the economy. This is the time to listen to the people you know and you love, not the ones that you thought you voted for. Look into their heart, look into their intent.
Amen.
Make sure you've got a solid
Yes.
on what a solid base on what they're about, what they actually mean.
What is your website, or where can we learn more about you? People want to learn more about you. I know I want to have you on the show again. Where can they learn more about you?
Well, Facebook is going to be the best thing. Honestly, for right now, the website I've got is our head is the Texas Bacon Master. Essential Oils of the Bacon Master is one of them. And then I'm Walter West II. I've got several thousand followers, and you'll see me doing crazy things from the border to bacon to just loving God. And you'll see me at church sometimes. You'll see me out there doing some crazy stuff with the kids, or some crazy stuff with people we're trying to get engaged. I'm trying to get the youth engaged to make sure they take care of their future.
Do you go by Walter West? Like, did you do the old Roman numerals when you spell your name, or how do you typically do Walter West II?
Actually, there's two Facebook pages, because several times I've been my Facebook pages were taken down whenever the troops were manning the border, and we had thousands in the caravan. Walter West, the Roman numeral 2.
Yeah.
And then Walter West by itself. It'll be my big, shiny, happy, smiley face right there. So, and there will always be bacon, and they are open. Those pages are open. And I support a lot of candidates. We're pushing several running for Congress and the state Senate here in Texas right now.
Sir, I appreciate you taking the time to join us here today on the Thrive Time Show. And I really do. I'm praying for America. I know we're going to win this thing, and it's because of the sacrifices of great patriots like you. Thank you for serving overseas as well as here in the United States, and just never stop, sir. Keep it going. I appreciate you.
Thank you for having us on.
Take care. And now, without any further ado, 3, 2, 1.